Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the EDM Grid podcast. My name is Henry, also known as Hank Ray. Sadly, Oswald is not here joining us today because life is very busy. And also it is busy for me as well, which is why there haven't been many episodes out. I'm sorry about that. But we have got a new episode today, and I am incredibly honoured to be joined by someone who has released multiple songs on NCS, multiple remixes, very, very good artist, has won a Grammy, which we can talk about. But the more exciting thing is that he is the first Englishman to join us on the podcast, which I am personally very happy about. Ladies and gentlemen, Spitfya, how are you doing today?
I'm the first person to say in it that isn't you on the podcast. Let's go.
We are branching out on this. You know, the problem with Oswald not being here is that it might be too much British. You know, we need to have someone to dissect the pure sarcasm that radiates out of us. You know,
Google Translate British to English, please.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be too much. Especially that accent as well is gonna kill throughout the entire episode.
I mean, it could be worse. Could sound more like this, you know what I mean?
Oh, you're right, guys. How's it going, fella?
How's it going, Henry? With an E rather than a H. How's it going, Henry?
I don't know. That's a thing for us, is that people just don't think that we can pronounce like the T's and the H's, which is very funny.
I mean, Americans also have the fact that they can't say herbs because they just don't have an H apparently in that word.
Yeah, that's impossible for them. Just herbs.
Herbs and spices.
Herbs. The KFC
Herbs.
11 herbs and spices, you know. He is a day one hater of KFC.
Day one hater.
Day one hatred.
The second it was announced, nah, fuck this shit, nah.
I'm going to McDonald's instead.
MC Donald's, bro, the best MC.
Of course, my friend. And of course, speaking of music, you know, great transitions as always. I want to talk about this Grammy because you got it for the F1 movie for work which you were subcontracted for.
Yeah.
Which it was best soundtrack for a film, was it? Or it was something along those lines.
Motion picture, maybe? Something along
Yeah.
like that.
And you worked on the Don Toliver and Doja Cat song, Lost My Mind?
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, we're up against Demon Hunters, so good luck winning that one.
How has this happened? You've got, like, your first glimpse, and it's just been completely overshadowed by...
Preemptively stolen by Demon Hunters, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt that Demon Hunters is going to win.
Oh, definitely. It is, like, the amount of times
It's rigged if it doesn't.
The amount of times where, like, I'm in a car or something and I just hear Golden on the radio and I want to put my head through the dashboard is, it's just disappointing, especially because
Yeah, the song come on, it's like,
yeah, I don't think the songs are that good as well, which is my personal humble opinion.
Yeah, I haven't heard them, so I have the blessing of not having any comparison to what they actually sound like.
You have been saved.
Yeah, I've spared my ears from that.
So hold on, you haven't actually heard the songs, but you just know that, like, whatever songs they are, it's winning. You're just cooked.
Yeah. Just because it says the word K-pop in it, and I'm like, it looks like Pixar. So it's like, that appeals to, like, every age of essentially, like, 25 and below to 0. And then you've got the fact that it's songs, and musicals are, like, a very kid thing as well, which is why probably like, Disney was so popular for the longest time. But so it's like, are we going to win against that? No. Not at all.
Yeah,
F1 is so much more niche than whatever the hell they're singing about.
Exactly. It's also because the F1 movie, like, from what I've seen of it, it's not as musically in that, like, all the songs are to progress the plot. Instead, all the songs are sort of to support the story and, like, the dialogue that happens in it, and also to show the cool stuff going on.
Yeah. And then they got, like, the 3-minute segment that is just straight up the song playing with, like, a montage or something.
Yeah. Though you haven't... Last time we talked, I think you said that you haven't actually seen it yet, which I found quite funny.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but I've seen that one scene, just because someone was like, "Hey, look," and I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Have you seen the scene that your song or the song
Yeah.
which you helped work on? Was that the scene?
Yeah. So
Oh.
the little montage bit, like 3 minute montage bit, it has like a version of that song playing.
Ah. Does it still have what you sort of worked on in it, or?
Yeah. But it's like I think they might have messed with like the stems and like take the vocals out different places or change the structure, just cut it up a bit.
What did you actually do for the song? Like, what parts did you play and help making it?
So it would be drum related things, like the drums. It would be mixing. It would be some vocal editing.
So
Mostly just mixing and drumming.
You just did a lot of sort of
miscellaneous
general
stuff,
work. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us did, to be honest. A lot of us filled in different gaps and then kind of like masses of none in a lot of the.
How many people worked on it, from what you know?
At least 6 people, I think. At least. Probably up to 10 or more. I don't know. I don't know the full scope of it. I just know like my side of it. I know that there was me and Tom, and I know that there was a producer that he was talking to. Then there's another guy.
Tom is Spitfya's manager, just so that you guys are aware.
Oh no. Tom is a Tom Norris.
Oh.
Get your snack on. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Tommy is not to be. Yeah, it's confusing. I know. I got confused at the longest time as well. I'd say to my mum like, "Oh, Tommy said this." He's like, "Tom or Tommy?" I'm like, "Tommy," and I had to start figuring out ways to distinguish them both.
You just
in
by their
conversation.
usernames. You just sort of like,
Yeah.
even if you see them like just day to day.
I never went up to her and said, "My mate, get your snack on, yeah." I never said that.
So there was lots of different people sort of working on this song at once, is what you're trying to say. And
yeah. Plus,
had very separate
ultimately, it
things.
has Hans Zimmer in it as well. So he's the one that like composed the original. I think that was turned into that song.
So hold on. What elements did you take of Hans Zimmer then, or were you before Hans Zimmer then added his sort of stuff?
Oh, I was way before. Like the song was pretty much already established by the time I joined it.
Okay.
It was the concept was already there. They'd already like popified some of it. There was like draft vocals of Don's vocals, like placeholder stuff. I don't think Doja Cat was in it for a while until near the end. So it was mostly just Don going like placeholder stuff for the longest time.
So how long did it take to then make this song?
From the point that I joined, it was probably late January till March. Is somewhere around there was my involvement timeline.
So 2.5 months basically.
Yeah, which is strikingly close to when the music was released. It was like June something. Can't believe how close that is. Makes me wonder how close to the finish line the other ones were finished then.
Yeah, that's true, because there's other songs taking place as well. So it's sort of like, how many songs were finished that close to the actual deadline, you know?
I mean, the same thing can be said for when me and Tom were working on the Mortal Kombat thing. I feel like that one was the same. It was very close to like when the movie came out or something. It was not far away at all. Concerningly close. It was like to the point of where we were sat there going, is this going to be ready in time? Can they import it into the movie this quickly? Turns out it's using the credits, so I think that's fine. Or something like that. I know the song was called Techno Syndrome.
Well, what's the latest that probably something could be put in? Because like they have to do their final checks and stuff as well to sort of make sure that nothing has slipped through the cracks of the film before releasing.
There's probably like senior leads that take care of a lot of that, I imagine.
How much other work, sort of subcontracting, do you do then? Moving away from just the F1 film that you've won the Grammy for then.
What other kind? What have I done since, or that I do now?
What have you done since? What do you do now? Sort of, what other work do you take up with subcontracting?
Well, subcontracting is kind of the thing that I do with people like Tom, where I do it through him. But a lot of the other stuff that I do is directly with the person, or my manager liaisons with that person. So that would be directly contracted. So that would be stuff like when I do production on someone else's song, or someone else's thing. Could be anything really. Like a lot of the time. I mean, like case in point would be for Techno Syndrome, for example. The main thing we did, me and Tom, was that we took what was given, which was a substantially lacking version of the song. Is putting it nicely. No hate to the guy that composed it. He's a great composer, but when it comes to mixing an EDM, he's not very good. And that's kind of why we came into it, because I think Warner must have heard it and gone, no.
Let's get like some professionals in that know more what they're doing.
Yeah,
in this genre.
like sadly we weren't allowed to change much of the actual composition. It was mostly replacing things. So like if there was a snare placed in a certain position, it was replacing that snare in that same position. There was some freedom, like changing like where the Mortal Kombat voice lines were in the build-up, just to make it a bit more appealing or make more sense. Because I'm pretty sure that the whole idea of that song was to be like a time travel, like through to like EDM through time kind of thing. Because it starts off as like mid-tempo, then it becomes dubstep, then it becomes other stuff. I think it ends with dubstep. I also snuck in some growls just because it was funny.
That's actually great. It's sort of
I haven't
those
told
who
anyone
know
that yet. Yeah, I just threw them in. I just thought like,
stuff.
yeah. I think it was mainly for insurance as well. It was like, I want to see if this actually, like, what I'm doing is actually being used. Turns out it was. So
like
there's growls
if you
in the
hear it in the
actual song.
final thing, then you just sort of know that, oh yeah, what I'm doing is actually making an impact into this final song.
Yeah, because this is quite early on, so I was very like skeptical of it. Like people come up to you with things and it sounds too good to be true in a way, and you're like, I don't believe that. So I put that in there just to see if it would stay, and it did. So like if you go to like the end of the Techno Syndrome song, there is growls of mine in there.
That's actually so funny. Just like sneaking stuff into the final film that the producers don't know about, but then you could point to people and go, did you hear that part of this song? I did that.
Yeah.
I added those growls.
Unfortunately, I didn't get any actual credit on this one. I know that Tom did. Credit seems to be a consistent problem with a lot of people, and then when they do contracting, especially subcontracting, getting credits is very difficult. So it's an absolute miracle that I got the credits that I did for this F1 song, which is why it's the first public credit. It's not the first It's not the first production I've done at all by any means, but it is the first actual written credit.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of like, I see very big artists that like they don't do all of that themselves. But I want to know who's done the stuff behind the songs. Like when people make beats, I want to go like when Kendrick Lamar releases a song. Like I want to know who was involved in making that song. There's got to be loads of people that actually does make that song. So
a lot of the time, if you want to know who's made something, it's not always written down because some people can get like buyouts. So like, for example, like say Zed's doing something, and he doesn't want to have someone's name on it, he'll buy out their credit, so they don't get written down. I think maybe a case in point for that one would be Spectrum, like with Matthew Coma, but Matthew's nowhere listed on the song, to the point of where when I first heard that song, like back in 2011 or 12, whenever it came out, I thought that was Zed's voice. I thought he was a singer. Turns out it's Matthew.
He wasn't.
Turns out I was
been lied to.
Yeah. The assumptions. I think a lot of it's on purpose, though, with the way marketing is.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to sort of label something if it's by Don Toliver, Doja Cat, and F1, and it isn't like a bunch of extra names added on the back.
Lil Jimmy with his MP3 is not going to be bothered by like the names of listed down. They're just looking for Don and Doja and like, yeah, mate, this is my thing, this is my jam, my mustard.
People just see big artists and go, oh yeah, no, that one.
Yeah. I think it's no secret that a lot of people, especially like, pop people like Rihanna, like they have teams of people that help them do stuff.
Yeah.
There's other singers who give other singers direction of what to sing, how to say it, do the lyrics. Like Sia's a perfect example of this. I think that's actually a funny thing as well is I've heard. I think there's on the internet somewhere. There's like demos of like Britney Spears' "Toxic," where like it's a totally different singer and a totally different like demo version of the song. It's really interesting to hear like the other singers like how to direct the the main artist on how to sing it. I think it's the same with Ed Sheeran. He did a lot of the direction for Justin Bieber's early stuff, not Baby early, but like Sorry and stuff like that. Those slightly post Jack U things. There's a lot of that, and I think there's even a singer that shows how Justin should sing "Where Are You Now" as well. I'm pretty sure because I think he used, I don't know what song it was. It might be a different one, but I'm pretty sure there was a dispute actually about that, where some major artist thought that they stole like a vocal and went like apeshit about it, and then Sonny pulled up his camera and was like, "No, it's from the demo actually." I think it's like the in the intro, but that's from the original singer.
Yeah, I've also heard a lot about like people who come in last minute because there's another singer who didn't actually want to sing the song, and then they went, "Oh yeah, let's get this person to do it," and they've been brought in last minute. I think it might be what you said about Doja Cat earlier about how she was brought in last minute to do vocals.
Yeah. It may have been intended that she was always going to do vocals, but I don't think they were delivered early on. I think they were delivered later in the process than Don's draft vocals, for example.
So what other stuff have you worked on that hasn't been credited in your name that you can also talk about? Because I get that there is also a bunch of like NDAs and legal stuff.
Yeah. So the earliest thing I can remember would be Ministry of Sound. Annual classic back in 2018-19 for pre-COVID times.
Seems so distant.
Yeah, it does. It feels like yesterday, but also a million miles away at the same time.
Yeah.
For that one, I did a lot of the sound design. So like, I think the main thing with that one was rather than contacting like 50 artists worth of people, some of which are no longer making anything at all or not around anymore. It'd be easier to get someone just to remake all of the assets that they want for the live show. Because the live show is an orchestra, but then there's somebody with like a MIDI keyboard on the stage doing the actual melodies, and I think the drummer has a digital drum kit that triggers the drums that would have played.
Like a drum pad, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically my job to assemble all of the things they will need and remake all of the stuff from the songs that they need to play to perform the whole thing together, basically. So it could be something as simple as like the drums from Fatboy Slim "Right Here, Right Now" was one of them. So at one point there's a vocal that's chopped up, and then obviously there's the "Right Here, Right Now" vocal. So that needs to be ripped or redone the same way, and then made the same length as the performance would have been. So like it would be my job to basically arrange it in the way it would have been in the guy's actual project file, and then give them that as if it's a real stem, and then they build the orchestra performance around that, and then they give them the sheet music, then they get all the right instruments for it, like the violins, all the other things, and then the drums. I do the drums, I rip them, or I remake them, or I beef them up a bit, and that's kind of what I was brought in for. I remember specifically at the beginning of this, though, I had to prove myself to them initially. Because I got that one through Tom. That was one of the first things I ever did for him. He didn't have time for it, and he was just kind of like, "Yeah, you're good at remaking shit, right?" I'm like, "I guess." And he's like, "Hey, have this." I'm like, "Oh, fuck." That's pretty much as fast as it happened. And then
it just sprung onto you that like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you've got this work that you need to do." Oh, okay then.
Yeah, I specifically remember being so shocked by it that I was at college at the time, and I just went home. I just left, just walked out the class and went home to start working on it because I was so hyped with what he said to me. Because I grew up with all those songs. What's that?
Did the professor just allow it to happen? Like he just sees you walking out?
Oh yeah, like the guy knew. Like I was kind of lucky in this regard. Whereas in college I was known as that guy that does insane shit. Because I used to I used to rip stuff for people in college and then like give them assets because some of them would perform and they want to perform covers and they wouldn't have like assets of the song, so I'd either rip them or remake them and give them to them, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, bro, how do you do this?" I'd be like,
So
"Yeah."
you just understood that you had places to be, people to see. You know, your name is being called.
Yeah, I was like, I just remember seeing the message on like Messenger, and I'm like, I gotta go like now. I was so hyped, bro. Like, that level of I chase that level of hype now. It wasn't. I mean, the pay wasn't bad either for the first thing. I think it's still the highest one I've been paid for. I think I could say the amount. So it was around about $2,000 for that. So it wasn't a lot, but it's something. It like I'm not gonna turn that down, bro. Like
yeah,
I think it was over the course of a month as well. So $2,000 for something that you do almost for fun is.
Especially when you're in college, especially when you're in college or perhaps university. Was it university you were in? Or was it
no, just college, regular college. Yeah, I never went to uni for music or anything like that.
Okay.
I went to this college for music just for the credentials, not because I needed to, in a way, because like it was a BTEC level 3. I'm pretty sure it was BTEC level 3 music technology. I think it was for.
Okay.
But I just kind of fucking knew everything they were talking about, to the point of where I would walk out, like I wouldn't have to be in the class at all. I would just piss out the work, which would be like, make an ARP in E minor. You have 4 weeks to do this. I'm like, give me a moment. Give me a sec.
Okay.
And then I'll just go into the room with the lead engineer and just hang out with him and just talk shit with him for the whole time.
So how long does it take you then to sort of do some of these commissions, like that Ministry of Sound thing? How long did that take you sort of to do in terms of like hours per day or like the amount of hours that it takes?
Oh, it was about like 5 or 6 hours a day, almost every day for about a month. So this was the only reason why that was like that was because there was a lot of nitpicky things. Like the person that I was talking to had a lot of like they wanted to be practically perfect, which I don't blame him at all because I wanted the same. And I also remember that they used Serum. Specifically, they wanted it all in Serum back then.
So first exposure to Serum.
No, I actually tested Serum in 2013.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah.
And then you never used it at all until that moment when you needed to use it again.
Yeah, I tested it. It was like, it's alright. And then I went back to Massive again. And then back in like 2014-15, I met December, and then he was using Serum a lot. And then I somehow back converted him to Massive. And then he went back to Massive and started using Massive all the time with me. That's kind of how we came up with a lot of our sounds again, is that I like brought him backwards to Massive and he brought me forwards to Serum sometimes. So it was a bit of a funny dynamic for that.
But yeah, so you made a bunch of these sounds in Serum, and it sort of, especially so $2,000 for 5 hours of work every day is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay.
Especially for someone who is at college and perhaps hadn't had an income, $2,000 would feel like a lot to you back then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would still love to do stuff like that again. Hopefully, I mean, I guess the plan is to try and build up some sort of like name that isn't this one, or maybe it can be this one, kind of like what Tom does with Get Your Snack On. He's got his name. Then he's got his brand, his like his company, what he's known for professionally. And currently, I'm just known as Spitfya. I'm not really known as Carl for any other reason. So I'm kind of thinking like
a bit and expand your portfolio a bit in terms of like what you do.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff you make.
Because I want people to know that like essentially like a statement of, by the way, I could do more than 2010 Skrillex, and I have been able to do this for more than 12 years. Lol. It is essentially the statement I want to make next year, which is kind of why I started doing the whip thing back in the beginning of November.
We can get onto that. We can definitely get onto that. Like later on in the episode, that's something we can definitely talk about. But
yes.
But it sort of sounds like, you know, this is just something you did for fun but then now you've sort of progressed it a lot more. You want to expand it and see how you can take it, especially because you know, I'm guessing you've done a lot of work, so you can
not a super amount, not many things. Enough to still be desired more, but it's some.
Not enough so that you can point to anyone and go, hey, I've done all of these different things. That's why you should hire me.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is like portfolio of work, or the things I'm not allowed to talk about would get me hired tomorrow. That's the problem, I think, because of the amount of name drops that would be involved. But I can't say anything like that. So it's like,
can you not even bring them up when you're applying to companies? Like, oh yeah, I've worked for this person, but you're not allowed to say that.
I don't know the fine details of where the NDA line stops and starts with that. So I've got to be very cautious with it. The best way to handle an NDA is just to not even begin to mention it, apart from the fact that it exists. Because you're allowed. I don't even know if you're allowed to even specify there is one with an NDA. I think there might even be a thing in an NDA that says you can't mention that there is one. But I think that's a very grey area, though. So it doesn't really matter.
That sort of sucks, though. Like, you've done a lot of work that, you know, shows how much different stuff you can make, but then you're not allowed to say it because you're legally not allowed to.
Some of it's even self-inflicted too, because I've like offered to do stuff, and I've even mentioned NDA just to calm the person down, and then they've gone, yeah, okay, and then I've signed it, and it's like, oh, well, that's that then. Can't ever mention this person's name ever again with mine. I think I have like actively right now about four different people.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's funny in a way.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny seeing the other side of the coin and seeing how secretive people are. It really opens your eyes to how things really go with people that you used to look up to. Put it that way. How things are very obscured.
Yeah, especially in the music industry where like all the big names are sort of got 20 people behind them, as mentioned earlier.
Yeah, put it this way, if you see a rumor and you see a rumor often enough, it's probably because it's true. Not that the people would ever, confirm it, because why would they do that? Like, why would I don't know, like, I'm not saying he is, but why would Space Letters come out and say if he's accused of being ghost produced? Why would he come out and then just go, yeah, you're right, absolutely. Like, of course he's going to deny it. Everyone will. No one's going to willingly go out there and go, yeah, mate, you're right. I absolutely do nothing. I have a team of people. Like, no one wants that kind of press or image, because that's the whole point. It is an image. It's a brand.
All right, I wanna move away from this, and you did mention your whips earlier, which I do want to talk about. You have been posting a whip. You wanted to do it every single day, and you sort of burnt out, and it's been a bit hard to manage.
I was doing it every day, and then I got ill, and then I got told to calm down by my manager. And I was like, okay, I'll do it Monday to Friday then, and then I got ill again, and now I've had to pause it. So yeah.
What was the idea behind that? Sort of, you said earlier you wanted to expand your portfolio, but was it also because you just felt like you weren't making enough music, and so just like, okay, well, I'll just make a new song every single day?
Sort of. It's like a multi-purpose kind of thing for me. So I see it as solving like the whole anxiety of releasing with perfectionism being at the forefront of your mind. It kind of like, the more you release, I feel like the more you do that, the less precedent that perfectionism has over you. So it's not done yet like 1,000 times. It's just, that will do there, that moment there, that will be fine. That's okay. That will do. There's knowing when to stop, basically. And then there's that, and then there's the element of showing that I have more range than what people assume, because of releasing what I release is safe for what I'm known for. Even though the whole time I've wanted to release totally different stuff, but then been so concerned about how it would be received that I just haven't.
But this is just sort of a way of you putting stuff out there without caring Okay, yeah, like
Yeah, because
I don't care what you think.
the rules I set for myself was basically like, no matter the weather, the mood, where I think I am with it, within reason, it will be thrown out there no matter what I think about it. It's not up to me to decide whether something is good or not. It's the audience. That's the people who actually fund you as an artist, emotionally and other things. So it's like, it doesn't. I had to basically convince myself it doesn't matter what I think to an extent.
How many of those ideas have you looked back on and went, oh my god, that's actually a really good idea that I want to use in the future?
Most of them, actually.
Really?
Yeah, about 80% of them or so. Yeah, and there's quite a few of them. Sometimes my manager will hear them and he's like, "Who the fuck are you, bro? Who are you? What is this?" But in a good way. Like he'll ask me, like, "I don't even know who you are anymore with this stuff, bro. This is insane."
Like, just make something completely different to what you are used to. That like all of a sudden you've got this
and that's coming from
sound.
him that knows my other stuff too that no one else has heard. And so he's like, he now treats it as like it's a step up from even that, which to the public would be 2 steps up from, the dubstep, bro step stuff.
How long do you think you're going to continue with this? Because I sometimes get the notifications on Twitter about like some of your whips that I go, oh my god, wait, that's actually really cool and that's a really good one. How long do you think you're going to continue with this?
Well, the original idea was a year, which it was literally chosen to be a year for the fact that it's a year and no other actual practical reason.
Yeah.
So, well aware that it's more of a rule than it is an actual useful metric. It's just funny to say a year or a week or a month or like so many months. Whereas realistically, I think everybody would burn out by then. Oh yeah, that's another reason, is because I wanted to practice songwriting very quickly.
Yeah.
So I thought like, well, if I'm not known for what I actually make, what's something that could set me apart from other people? And it would be speed, without sacrificing quality. Because, in my opinion, AI is good for rapid ideas. So I thought, well, a person could also do this. Because on one hand, you could train an AI to be like you, which is, I don't think many people have done at all, which is something I'd love to do. But I feel like the more authentic version, the way that you could be satisfied with yourself and what you actually can do would be to do it for real. Show yourself what your own range is, and then break that as well. Just keep going and like rapidly innovate. Because like, in my opinion, there's a lot of people who started early on, right? Who were surrounded by people who were also like slightly better than them or further along in the chain of making music and stuff like that and what they'd learned. And for me, people like, for lack of a better example, Skrillex is a good example. He surrounded himself by people non-stop, and he toured like crazy. And a byproduct of touring and seeing people this quickly, this often, this consistently, was that he rapidly was able to improve, like to the point of where you hear a song from a few months earlier, then one like later, and you're like, that's like what? You hear like My Name Is Skrillex, and you hear Scary Monsters, and you're like, the fuck? That's a ridiculous improvement over the course of 2 months.
Yeah.
And I feel like that the reason for that is you basically get to you basically get like tips and tricks from people, but you're getting it from thousands of people across a very consistent amount over time. And so you're basically like, it's like speed running it, basically.
It's also just hearing lots of different perspectives on something which, there isn't one set way of doing anything in music. So to see how so many people do stuff so differently, you can sort of see what you like, see what you don't like, and then use it to shape some of the own methods that you use as well.
Yeah, I think there's no faster method of improving an iteration than surrounding yourself within reason with other producers, hanging around with each other, just bouncing ideas off of each other, and just kind of like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. as much as you can, as fast as you can, but without burnout, of course. I feel like there's no better way to improve than that. Because for everyone that I've ever met, and myself, I've always seen this pattern of people who rapidly improve the more they surround themselves with certain people. Like, I can remember many years ago, like 2014, right before I made Spitfya, for example, I was hanging around with like Virtual Riot, Panda Eyes, Temanite, and some of these people were very new at the time, but I fucked with what they were making. Or like someone just showed me their stuff and I was like, oh, this is cool, I like this. And then that's kind of like how it starts. Like, not everyone that you know in the present moment will be big, but they could be, and you need to kind of bear that in mind business-wise in your head, in the background. It shouldn't be at the forefront of your relationship, but a lot of people who are big will always say the same story. They hung around with these people that weren't big at the time, and they became big together. And that's probably like the best journey you can possibly have. Case in point would be Disciple. A lot of those people were low, mid to mid in size at the time, maybe a bit lower, or some of them would be very new. Some of them made a different alias and started doing stuff there, but you can see the growth. They all grew together very fast. And because they all lived together as well, they had the benefit of that. They all rapidly iterated with each other very quickly. They all like, you basically adapt. I think of it like, you can't do a French accent, but then you live with like 5 people who do a French accent. Very fast, you will pick it up. Like, that's what it's like for me, from what I think.
So, what other things about this whip sort of making have you found helpful? Like, is it just getting comfortable with things that you may not find perfect? Is it things sort of...
Yeah.
You just making a bunch of stuff and seeing, oh yeah, this went well, this didn't go well.
I mean, a lot of it was to do with I didn't really know what I wanted to do next for a while now. Like, for the longest time, at least 4 or 5 years now, I've had this question mark over my own head of what do I actually want to do now? What do I want to put out there? And I was always conflicted between what I'm known for and what I want to do, and then because of that, it would be a stalemate of nothing. So the biggest thing I've gotten out of this so far would be breaking the barrier of perfectionism and allowing myself to put things out there that I don't think are perfect, because perfection is impossible, so what's the point of chasing it? Like you cognitively know this, but yet sometimes your pressure of yourself is too great. And I noticed that I had this when I did like Senses Overload and stuff like that. I cut the check, I released those, and those blew up overnight, and I'm just like, sometimes you don't know how to handle that level and that speed of momentum. And I really didn't, to be honest. Because if I did, I would have had Apocalypse out the same year, and it was 2 years later that it came out. Which I heavily regret, because it was just slightly too late when it came out. I think it was like 2018, 17, 18, I think it came out, but like it really should have just come out like 2016, 15.
Yeah.
Probably 16. But it was just too late, because I just started getting like so in my own head with everything. And then like you'd meet people like Virtual Riot and stuff like that, and then you hang out with them and see what the stuff that they're doing, and then you start to like convince yourself that you're intimidated by them, and that everything that you're doing as compared to them is like shit. Yeah. And that's the pitfall that I fell into very quickly.
Like, there's always going to be someone who is better at something than you, so it's just knowing that
but the realization is that it's an irrelevant comparison.
Yeah.
So just because their shade of blue and your shade of blue is not the same, doesn't make it any different than it is still a color, and it's still blue. It doesn't matter what version of blue it is. There's no reason to compare it at all. I think social media's rise was probably another contributing factor towards this mindset.
Focusing a lot on like numbers and doing well for the algorithm and stuff like that, instead of taking your time and seeing what you actually enjoy.
Not everyone wants to be an influencer as well as a musician, but these days it's almost required, and I still don't care about that whole thing.
I'm regressing now, because I made a school essay on that particular subject about how TikTok is affecting the music industry, and there's a very big correlation between how you do with short form media and getting lucky with being played by the algorithm, and also successes that you get in the music industry.
it is pretty fucked that we're all at the mercy of an algorithm and not people's interest.
Yeah.
Even though they quantify it as people's interest, but like, it's a gateway and a chokehold over it. So it's like yes, but actually no. It's like they're right, but they're also wrong. It is an interest, but it's also the interest they're allowed to be exposed to, which is the problem. Because there's so many people who make so many great things all the time, and yet AI slop might take over because it's just clicked on more by sheer coincidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone's like short that they've made or video that they've made, they spent like months on, versus an AI thing that was generated in 10 minutes, and the 10-minute video gets like 1 million views, and the one that was worked on by some college student that's really passionate about what they do gets like 40k. It's like, that's the kind of injustice that I keep noticing with things.
I want to move away from that, because that was, I think, a very nice end to sort of the whip sharing. And I now want to talk about you as an artist, because you have released some absolute bangers in the past. You've seen quite a lot of success over your sort of career as a musician. What I want to talk about is that you have very heavily been involved with a lot of NCS stuff, and sort of 2016 to 2021 or around those dates, you've done a lot of NCS stuff. So what I wanted to know is sort of, how did you get into that? What was the way that you sort of found your way into this little community?
Well, the momentum of what I was doing is kind of what exposed that. So like releasing Cut the Check, releasing Sense Overload, and then all the stuff previously, like Shots Fired, Just Could Be Things, put me on people's radar, I guess. And then that's the way it used to be. You'd release something, put it out there, people go, we like this, and then labels go, oh, people like this, we should like this, and then they like it. Then they just contact you, and then before you know it, they're asking you for a song, and like, do you have anything, like, show us what you're up to, and then you show them what you're up to, and then they go, oh, look, we'll take this. That's as simple as it used to be back then, back in 2014, 15.
So how did you get Cut the Check on NCS then? That was the first song that I can see that you were able to get on there.
Yeah.
Was it December?
It was off of the back of Sense Overload's like reception, I think, and then December was going for the more mid-tempo stuff at the time, and I was starting to go back into the mid-tempo-y stuff. And then I think Billy approached one of us on, like, the original owner, the founder of NCS, approached us on like Messenger on Facebook, and was just like, hey, love what you're doing, if you want to send some stuff over, let me know. And then we got into talks about what we were up to, and then we showed him like an early version of Cut the Check, and he was like, oh, I will take this. Which is funny, by the way, because I do specifically remember that like all of the A&Rs didn't like it, and Billy overruled them. And this is a really good example of how A&Rs can be wrong and jaded as well too, because even though all of the A&Rs that would have, like, you know, heard it if it was submitted, said no, it just shows you how wrong they are, because it's still my biggest goddamn song. And it's the one that people always know, it's the one that always gets mentioned. And yet, despite all of the no's, Billy was like, well, it's not actually a question, it's a request. Which was nice of him to do.
Yeah.
I think I even remember promo channels, without mentioning any names, but promo channels back then, like YouTube channels, would ask us for stuff, and then they wanted like Sense Overload, and then they loved uploading that, and they'd ask us for something else, and then they'd Cut the Check and be like, nah, well, I'll pass on this. And then it comes out, it gets big, and then they're like, yeah, can we upload it now? And we're just kind of like, no, you don't get to just flip like that, like a switch. No. It's funny to see the difference with like people's minds changing with the reception of something that you released. It just shows you that their minds in the metrics and not really like how the vibe of it.
Yeah.
That was an interesting thing to see.
Definitely, like thinking about how well a song will do and not necessarily.
Yeah, and also how wrong they were.
Place. Yeah. So
that's always funny.
So then, the next song you released on NCS was the Vertigo remix, Rob Gasser. I think I have that song downloaded because that is a banger. I'm guessing that song was just based on the connections that you made beforehand with people that you knew from NCS and around the circle, because I know Sekai, who is an absolute legend. Go check out the episode that we did with him. You've also released songs. You've released songs with them as well. Mistakes in 2021 with Rob Gasser. I'm guessing that was just a sort of circle which you had at the time.
Sort of, yeah. It was we all. I mean, Sekai's always been a close friend anyway. But Rob I'd never spoke to before. Emily was Sekai's girlfriend at the time, so it was just through association. And then I think December was part of it initially. He still has assets in the final song, but I don't know what the hell he was playing at the time. I think he was doing some stuff for Swedish House Mafia, and then just caved in and was just like, take my name off. I'm like, okay. So he has actual stuff in there, but he wanted his name taken off publicly. Don't know why. I think he regrets that now, though. I think he did say he regrets that. He doesn't understand what the hell he was doing. But the earlier versions of the song do actually say his name, and even the early cover art. Like I remember, the cover art had to be changed for the entire project, like the whole anniversary thing, because he didn't want his name on there. But Mistakes was very much a spontaneous thing. I don't think I was originally even asked to do it. I think it was through Sekai that I actually joined it. The celebration thing, anniversary thing, which is quite similar actually to how the Senses Overload thing happened. I wasn't asked to remix that either. December was, but December couldn't think of anything. So then I think we made like 2 different versions of it. We had like a drum and bass one. We weren't really feeling it, and then the next day he did like a 4 seconds of the first drop with totally like serum sounds, and that was enough to spark in my head the whole song, the whole thing. That's essentially how that one ended up happening. And then Cut the Check was mostly his idea. I think Cut the Check for him was like something under a different alias called Opulent, and it was like a throwaway demo that he threw on SoundCloud. And then I'm like, bro, this needs to be finished. This has potential. And I'm so glad I was right, because it did. It's still one of our biggest songs. So I'm glad I saw that W from far away. I don't know. Like I feel like back then you could hear a song and immediately know or vibe with it. Like if you vibe to it enough, you just know it will be good.
Yeah,
you believe in it so much.
Definitely, especially because back then it was simpler to sort of. You don't have as many techniques or anything, so it's just.
You were just winging it, and it just worked out somehow.
And just make it.
Yeah.
Would you want to make a song like that again with those people, or like you're still close with Sekai?
Yeah.
But like, would you want to make another song of them at any point in the future, or is it sort of you want to focus on yourself and expanding yourself as an artist now?
I mean, I'd be open to it, but if they're expecting Bro Step, they're not going to get it at all. So I think that's what I would say with that, is that I wouldn't say no. I'm always open to. I've always kind of been open to collaborate with people, no matter their size. People don't seem to. I don't think many people do this anyway. Like people my size or bigger or smaller, they don't really. They care about a lot of numbers. I don't give a fuck about numbers. So that's kind of why I have like collabs with people who have like 0 followers and people who have 10,000, 10 million. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not really about the size of them. It's what they're doing and what we're doing together. So like, I feel like that's missing a lot. A lot of these new producers, especially, they're so centric around rating the songs and how good is it out of 10, and all these. They're very metric driven, not feeling it, not vibing with it, just emotionally driven. They're all metric driven, which I don't blame them. That's how social media's engineered everyone to think now. Whereas I feel like my mind is so resistant to that way of thinking.
You do it for the love of the game instead of doing it to gain attention or to gain clout.
Yeah. Like, if I did this for money, I'd have quit fucking 10 years ago. I don't do it for money, I do it for fun.
Yeah.
And fun ultimately is what should come first, because if you enjoy it enough and you do it long enough, the whole, can't think of the word. The whole outcome of chance is that eventually you will succeed.
Yeah.
You do it for long enough and do it that many times, eventually something will probably land. Although for me, it's not really been a thing.
No,
Yet.
yes, because you, especially, now that you're looking to expand your portfolio and stuff, you can definitely get into bigger things, especially now that you can put Grammy nominated music producer. People are going to see that and go, whoa, he's good.
I didn't even know what it meant when it was first said to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been Grammy nominated. I'm like, huh?
What?
It was like,
what
just
does that
saying.
mean?
Like someone just going up to me like, yeah, do you like cheese on toast? Like, yeah. Oh, that's sick, bro. Like, what?
I feel like this is a great segue into the future of Spitfya and sort of your project, because Simulation is an absolute banger. That was your last release. I want to know what sort of stuff you've got planned in the works and sort of what you want to do moving forward for your project.
So, since doing these whips, I feel like I've got a bit of a direction in my head of what I want the next things to be, and I think it's probably going to be, it's not set in stone yet, but it'll probably be like an album and then a few EPs or lots of EPs, and then it becomes an album later on. But I have ideas in my head. Like, I think the next thing that releases will either be one more single or it will be an EP or an album after. I don't think I want to do the album just yet because I want to test the waters and see what people think of the new stuff and see what their reactions are and then go from there. I don't feel like I really want to throw 15 songs out there and hope for the best, cross my fingers blindly. So I'm probably just going to do a roster EP that people expect, and then the next EP will be, the next EP will be what I actually make now, not 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what the reception's like there.
But you're saying
that's the plan.
You're saying Spitfya album definitely gonna happen in the future.
Oh yeah, it should be next year. Yeah, if everything goes to plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
It's also crazy how I'm looking through. Next year is gonna be 10 years since Cut the Check.
April, yeah. April will be 10 years.
It's gonna be exactly 10 years. So surely you must have you might have something planned for 10 years since your first big release, or sort of big-ish release.
I mean, you would have assumed I would have had something planned for this year, with it being 10 years since Spitfya was made. But this year's been unkind, so I just kind of... I could do something on the exact time, but I feel like I'm still going to do something in celebration. It doesn't have to be on the actual anniversary of it, just to be, it doesn't mean I have to write it off now that it's passed. I did debate that though this year. I was thinking what do I do for some celebration of the anniversary of 10 years of it? But, back then I was still in the mindset of, I don't want to draw anything because I'm scared of the reaction. But now I'm getting over that slowly.
Is there anything else that you would want to branch out to? Because I remember last time we talked, we said, you also said that you would want to create a label at one point, or create a Discord server or stuff. Yeah.
That's also planned for next year in my head, in my manager's head. I think the way that I want next year to look, let's go by this time next year, is in my head. I want there to be, by then, probably 2 EPs, a couple of singles, maybe a remix or 2 released already. LP is announced, if not out already. not long ago at this point in a year's time. And by then I've established where things have landed, and then probably open up Spitfya Records to the public and start supporting people that do stuff similar to what I did or what I'm doing at the time now. And then there's the Discord's already open. It's got,
2 million people in it.
Yeah, that's community. It. 2 million people, fucking knife party. Rob Swire's in there, just hanging out in the VC. Kill the Noises in there, just hanging out. Yeah.
Of course.
Imagine, just like Kill the Noise, just hanging out there, how'd it go?
And then we come back to this in a year time and go, oh my god, wait, that was actually real. That's actually happened.
Yeah, it turns out I've got a crystal ball and it doesn't lie.
Of course, that's what that is.
But Discord, so Discord, go in, got some people in there, it's got some little community in there. I hang around in there a bit more than people hang out in their own ones, which is, from what I've seen, almost never, which is weird. I feel like I'd be more active in my own one. I feel like there's ways that I see people run their servers that I don't think is efficient enough. I feel like there's ways that I want to do it differently. I think I'd want to have people more involved in things, and then I feel like people are so scared of giving, like, for example, like stems of a song of theirs, or doing like classes of how something was done, or like a breakdown.
Maybe even like
I don't see it very often.
Remix compilation from people on your server or stuff like that.
Yeah, like imagine if like one day, for absolutely no reason other than fun, I'm just like, hey, made this song, here's the stems, have fun. You guys have got 2 weeks to come up with whatever the hell you want to do, and then you can show it to me.
I can't wait for a year's time looking back at this and seeing how much of it is true, and I will be there every step of the way.
And of course it'll be tied to a Patreon as well, because the amount of times I've been asked to make one in the last 10 years, holy god. Because I feel like back when I started, even before Spitfya, like my Blaze project, for example, like back in 2012, back then the most efficient way of supporting an artist was Bandcamp. But I haven't seen Bandcamp relevant in long time now, and it's kind of sad because I do miss that level of comfort before Spotify and that whole medium diluted the crap out of artists being supported by their viewers and their listeners. That I think is very wrong. I don't know why it's like that now, but it is, and I think it's a shame because there's a lot of people who do some great stuff, and Spotify sat there raking it in, and then that person gets like 4 cents across a year. It's like,
yep.
What can you? And that's why people do Patreons and shows now a lot, if not now more than ever. It's the only way to do it. Even YouTube channels do it, like big YouTube channels. They can't survive off of ad revenue, even that, and then they do Patreon and they do coffee and all these other things
of stuff as well.
Yeah, all these different forms of support, and I feel like if what you do is liked enough by people enough, then it will just naturally happen anyway. Like, you'll be supported in that medium that you offer. Yeah. I'm curious to see what the reception's really like to something like that, because obviously it's almost taboo in a way, because you say the word Patreon and everyone's like, oh, money. It's like, well, yeah, it is, but it's not one-sided like listening to a song is.
Out of it as well, and it's not like it's completely 100%.
Because if you don't do shows, then there's not that avenue to support them. If you don't do merch, there's not other avenues to support them. So how do you do it? It's not through playing their song, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So there's got to be different ways of doing it, and modernly, that is the ways that I've seen. And that is, it's not something I would have done if it wasn't requested. So like, if it's been requested enough, then I'll do it, and that's kind of like part of the reason why I thought about doing an LP as well. Is I was tossing and turning about the idea, and then even on the Grammy post, I saw a couple of comments saying Spitfya LP when, unironically, and I'm like, oh, okay. So people do care about that idea. Like some of these things from the outside may seem obvious, but when it's involving you, it's difficult to judge things, and that's kind of why I'm feeling out how everything's going now, and that's what the plans are for next year. But it just depends on how things go.
I will be there. I can't wait to see what is happening in the next year.
There's so many things I want to do. That's the problem. That's one of the reasons why I haven't done a lot of it. Is because there's too many things I want to do, and it takes Like,
that's like me. I've got so many things I want to do that I'm just sometimes like, okay, I can't.
yeah,
Can't
your brain
do
crashes
these
out because you've got
things.
so many
Yeah.
things at once. Yeah, exactly.
Like this
So we'll
podcast,
see.
for example, was one of these things.
Yeah, I can relate to that. There's so many things. Procrastination is
Yep.
it's a
All
thing,
right.
isn't it? It's a thing of all time.
We are getting to the end of the episode. It's been an hour, which is completely flown by. So before we get to the end of the episode, since Oswald isn't here, I'm legally obligated to ask you, what are some of the songs, projects you have been currently enjoying, or like currently been listening to? What is some of the stuff right now that you really, really enjoy?
Latest things that I've liked would be anything by a guy called Andromulus. He has another alias called Zadari, Zaadari, I think it's spelled. Some of the stuff that he's done, that he's released, and some of the stuff he's got coming out soon next year is just, I haven't heard production like that in a long time, and he's an OG as well. Like he used to go under the name Alex S, I believe, like when we both started, and it's just he's like, you know, when someone sounds like ridiculously seasoned and they could just do anything they think of, that's what he's like to me. He comes up with something and I'm just like, how the fuck did you think of this, bro? And then who else is there? There's like,
I think last time you also mentioned Sekai's new EP.
yeah, anything that my friends are doing essentially is what I listen to, is the truth. Because like, I don't seek out labels or artists and compilations at all. I just kind of do my own thing in my own little bubble under my rocks that I like to be under, and then occasionally someone will send me something for feedback or whatever, and I don't like that. A lot of the stuff that Laszlo makes under his new alias and his current one, like Sekai makes, like if you want a example of the people I listen to and the people that I'm friends with, some of the people at least, go on my SoundCloud, look at the people that are on the right side that says awesome people below. Those are the people that I'm listening to, vibing with a lot of the time.
Okay, so we have now gotten to the end of the episode. We have ran out of time. But before we end it, now is your moment to shout out anything, anyone that you want to. If you want to say whatever you want to say now, if you want to cuss me out for being a bad host, you can do that. Now's your time to say anything that you want to for the people who are listening.
I'm gonna shout out my manager Tommy, my good friend Tom, get your slack on, for just always being there with anything whatsoever for the length of time that they have been. Just kind of always being a person to listen, a person to give good advice. Voltex is another, like just people who really bring you up in moments of sadness or doubt or whatever, like people that reinforce the reality of you, not necessarily what you think of yourself. Because I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for Get Your Slack On, Tommy and Voltex and people like that, I would not be doing Spitfire anymore. It would have ended years ago. Absolute years ago, bro. People have no idea how essential it is to surround yourself with people like that. It's powerful. Amount of times I've had my mouse over the delete button thinking, fuck it, this is it. And then that little voice in your head of something that they said to you a few days ago echoes back and you're like, no, actually, no, I'm going to keep going. It's powerful. Surround yourself with good people.
There for you to help you walk when you have back problems, you know?
Yeah. I need somebody to hold my hand across the road.
Wait in a week for the NHS to go and see you, you know?
Oh my god, you know how it is in the UK, bro.
Well, I think that's a rather nice end to this episode. So thank you so much, Spitfire, for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today.
Anytime. I'll be
once
back,
again,
hopefully, in the future.
Hopefully, I would, you know, anyone that I interview in a year's time, I'd love to speak to them again and see how things have been in the past year compared to when I first talked to them.
We'll talk about this exact conversation in a year's time. We're like, so how did that go then?
Okay, so you've now ghost produced like literally everyone, 2 million followers,
Yeah, I've got 4 billion credits, 20 Grammys. I've got a golden desk. Like my roof is made of silver. Yeah.
Your toilet's golden as well. All of that.
Yeah. Like I got like 40 necklaces on. Like,
well,
it is.
Once again, my name is Henry, also known as Hank Cray. Oswald isn't here. He's currently watching the F1, very happy that Lando Norris has won. Thank you so much, Spitfya, for joining us in today's episode, and we're going to see you on the next one.